Hey, it's Amy Vasterling and lean in. Let's have story time because, well, we've got the breakdown of who we aren't. And what I'm about to share with you is this is not for the faint of heart. So tune out if you don't want to be a part of that. So the antidote to our control troubles is how we use our personal knowing. And it really is tricky because it's so simple. And we think we know for ourselves, but when we're coming from that position, we don't know at all. And we posture in the model in ways that I'm not going to describe here because there are too many of them. I can tell you what they are quickly. On the authoritarian side, we boast, tell, prove, or withhold, which is done through avoidance. On the enabler side of the model, we guilt, worry, we have drama, or we withhold, but we do it through self abuse, meaning we leave a party and we ruminate about what we said or what we did, or did I do something wrong, or I'm not sure what they thought about that, which can go into an effective motion forward in our lineage that affects our children where they actually might self-harm, right? So unaddressed in us, it continues to get worse and worse. And I'm not saying that as a threat, and I'm not blaming you as a parent. That's what I see from tracking the patterns and watching families and working with a ton of parents is that's how the pattern moves forward. Okay, so you've been warned. This is a little bit heavy, but I had a sister take her life many years ago. And I'm not saying this to look for sympathy or any of that reason. I'm using it to illustrate something here. So at her funeral, another sister told me that you know something that the rest of us do not know. And I could feel that that might be true and it might not be true. I didn't know and I didn't put any ownership into that. And I just shrugged, okay. But she was right. Months later, actually, it was about 2 weeks after my sister's funeral, I learned something about the situation that I hadn't known before. And I cried for her pain and I grieved her a little bit, but I did not grieve her at the funeral. I didn't have any sense of emotion. And I let that be what it was. I was just, that was my experience and my expression of what was going on there. And then two more times over the course of probably 15 months, I would have extraordinary bouts of emotion come up and out. And that was showing me the interior situation for my relationship with my sister who passed, not the relationship that we had judged or deemed was a certain way. And I realized from that 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 trust in me to not grieve and to not be upset about not grieving, and not, I didn't even ask a question about myself or to myself, why are you not grieving? Was me having personal knowing. Then I grieved on my own terms in my own way. And one might say, well, I do that. I've grieved on my own terms, my own way. I get that a lot from people, but they just postured in the model when they said that to me. If you knew that that was true for you, you wouldn't run right over and tell me that. You would feel calm in it and you would identify there's somebody that has experienced something like me. That's all you would do. So when we have that personal knowing in us, we do it our way. But the benefit of that is we get the most out of it. So I saw the entire circumference of my sister's life and her relationship to her siblings. And what I realized is she came to take the brunt of the mishandling of us as children because she had one of my parents' entire shadow that she expressed on every day. And because she carried that shadow of that parent took out anything that came up generally on that child. Also was taken out on us, but more so. So here's the 360 is I quickly, the third time I was upset about this, I in an instant understood she came to protect us. That was her journey in this life. And she could only protect us so far, right? And that is okay. I could let go to that. And I quite quickly, I mean, I'd almost say instantly felt the sense of peace when we're done grieving somebody, when we've let them go because we know it's okay on both sides of the table. So that is how our personal knowing is so powerful. The trouble that we have is we've lived in a society and in a structure in our world that is aggressive and that tells us, you don't know for yourself. And in the beginning of my book, I write, we want desperately to be right. And much of the world went ill governed on that very string of words. Instead of being curious, where I know best. I know best for you. And I had a lifetime of that in a way I don't think others have. I touched a cat and now the cat's everywhere. I'm sorry, I keep touching my face. So you probably have experienced where somebody treated you that they knew better for you than you knew for yourself. You might think of multiple times. For me, that was everywhere. It was like an epidemic in my life. And that's what informed my work. I could have never have learned that in a university or from somebody else's book or from any other way than I did, which was hands-on with people who were actively behaving in these myriad ways. And that is what helped me clinch my understanding. So I'm just putting that in there too to say, if you can see that pain point in your life, you might be able to understand that personal knowing a little bit better because you can recognize that will be your triumph. That will be the big thing that you really come forward to share. But the other piece of it is when we stop all of those postures and sit kind of in that, I feel awful, or it is uncomfortable. And when I say sit in it, I don't mean go meditate on it, just carry it along with you. Put it in your rucksack and move along. Take it out on the trail when you're hiking. So wake up in the morning and remember it. It's not, it's about not setting it down so that you continue to work through it. That's all it is. It could take 5 minutes. It could take a week. Some stuff has taken me 3 feckin' years. We'll borrow that word from the Irish once again. So go easy with yourself. It's a slow process, but when you're posturing, you are not in your knowing. You do not know for yourself right there. And it's quite easy to see. We see a lot of people, I understand you because no, that's not you really understanding yourself is the problem there. Trust is a massive facet of this work. I hope this has helped you see something from a different angle, and I hope you can apply it to your life. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, like, share, follow, because everybody wants to know this. Maybe not, but maybe they do. And also, let's collapse narcissism together because in truth, it serves no one.